This tiny octopus is small enough to fit in your hand, but it carries one of the most powerful venoms in the ocean, and there is no known antidote. One bite can be almost painless, but within minutes, the victim may lose the ability to move, breathe, or call for help, while still conscious. So how did one of the ocean's most beautiful creatures become one of its most silent killers? Look at this. A fully grown blue-ringed octopus can be barely larger than a golf ball. It weighs almost nothing. It looks delicate, almost toy-like. The kind of animal someone might be tempted to pick up without thinking, but that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. The blue-ringed octopus lives in shallow coastal waters across parts of the Pacific and Indian Oceans, especially around Australia and Southeast Asia. It hides in tide pools, coral rubble, shells, bottles, and rocky crevices. Most of the time you would never even notice it. Its normal color is muted and easy to miss, but when it feels threatened, its body changes. Bright electric blue rings begin to flash across its skin, almost like a warning light. And if you see those rings flashing, the message is simple: back away. So the question is simple: what makes this tiny animal so deadly? The answer is a neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin. It is the same kind of toxin associated with pufferfish, and in the blue-ringed octopus, it becomes a nearly invisible weapon. But the octopus does not produce it alone. Inside its salivary glands are bacteria that help create the toxin. The octopus then uses that toxic saliva as a weapon, both for hunting and for defense. When tetrodotoxin enters the body, it attacks the nervous system. It blocks the signals that nerves use to communicate with muscles. At first, the symptoms may seem small: tingling around the mouth, numbness in the lips and tongue, weakness, trouble speaking, trouble swallowing. Then the danger becomes much worse. Your muscles stop responding, your body begins to shut down, and eventually, the muscles that control breathing can become paralyzed. That is what makes the blue-ringed octopus so terrifying. The victim may remain conscious while the body stops obeying. The mind is still awake. The person may understand what is happening, but they may not be able to move, speak, or breathe on their own. And there is no antidote. Survival depends on one thing: keeping the person alive long enough for the toxin to wear off. The blue-ringed octopus does not need size, teeth, or brute strength. Its weapon is hidden beneath its soft body, a small, sharp, parrot-like beak. When it bites, the bite may feel like a tiny pinch. Sometimes, people do not feel it clearly at all. That is part of the danger. A person may pick up a shell, reach into a tide pool, or handle a small octopus without realizing they have just made a life-threatening mistake. Once the venom enters the body, the clock starts. Within minutes, numbness and weakness can spread. Breathing may become difficult. The victim can become dizzy, confused, or unable to control their movements. In severe cases, respiratory failure can happen quickly. The person does not die because the toxin destroys the body. They die because they stop breathing. That is why fast emergency care matters so much. If rescuers can keep oxygen moving through the body, with rescue breathing, CPR, or a ventilator, the victim may survive until the toxin passes. But without help, the situation can turn deadly very fast. In March 2023, a woman named Pascale Morono was swimming at Chinaman's Beach in Sydney, Australia. It was a normal day at the beach. Calm water, beautiful weather, nothing unusual. Then she noticed a small shell on the ocean floor and picked it up. It looked empty, so she slipped it into her swimsuit and kept swimming. Moments later, she felt something strange, a pinch, then another. Then another. When she checked inside her swimsuit, she saw something that would terrify anyone who understands the ocean. The bright blue rings of a blue-ringed octopus. Her partner called emergency services as symptoms began to appear. Numbness spread through her body, her legs weakened, her mouth and tongue began to feel strange. Paramedics arrived quickly, but the situation was serious. Inside the ambulance, her breathing and circulation began to fail. She later described feeling strangely calm, almost detached, as if she were watching the emergency happen from outside herself. Doctors worked to stabilize her, and because she received help quickly, she survived. But her story shows why this animal is so dangerous. It was not attacking her. It was not hunting her. It was hidden in a shell, exactly where a curious person might reach. And the bite did not seem dramatic at first. That is the nightmare of the blue-ringed octopus. The danger can be small, quiet, and almost invisible until the symptoms begin. Here is the important part. Blue-ringed octopuses are not aggressive toward humans. They are not swimming around looking for people to attack. They do not chase swimmers. They do not want trouble. Most bites happen because humans get too close. Someone picks one up because it looks cute. Someone reaches under a rock. Someone steps into a tide pool. Someone collects a shell without realizing something is hiding inside. To the octopus, that is danger. Its venom is mainly used to hunt small crabs, shrimp, and fish. But when it feels trapped, grabbed, or threatened, it may bite in defense. Before that happens, it often gives a warning. The blue rings flash, the body darkens, the colors become brighter and more intense. It is not trying to look pretty. It is trying to say, "Do not touch me." Most predators understand that warning. Humans often do not, and that is where accidents happen. So what should you do if someone is bitten by a blue-ringed octopus? First, treat it as a medical emergency immediately. Do not wait to see if symptoms get worse. Do not assume the bite is harmless because it barely hurts. Call emergency services right away. Get the person out of the water and keep them as still as possible. Apply a pressure bandage over the bite area and immobilize the limb if you can. This may help slow the spread of toxin through the body. Most importantly, watch their breathing. The greatest danger is respiratory failure. If the person stops breathing, rescue breathing or CPR may be needed until medical help arrives. At the hospital, doctors may place the victim on a ventilator so a machine can breathe for them. That is the key. There is no antidote, but if the person can be kept alive long enough, the toxin may eventually wear off. Some survivors recover without lasting damage because their breathing was supported during the critical window. But prevention is far better than survival. Never pick up small octopuses. Never put your hands into dark holes, rocky crevices, or shells in tide pools. Wear protective footwear in shallow coastal areas. Teach children to look but never touch. And if you ever see bright blue rings flashing on a small octopus, do not move closer for a better look. Move away. Despite its deadly reputation, the blue-ringed octopus is not a monster. It is a small, intelligent predator trying to survive in a dangerous ocean. Like other octopuses, it is a master of camouflage. It can change color and texture to blend into the seafloor. It can squeeze into tiny spaces. It can hide in places most animals would never fit. It plays a role in the ecosystem by hunting small crustaceans and fish. And most importantly, it does not want to waste venom on humans. The truth is, blue-ringed octopus encounters are usually preventable. The animal gives warnings, the ocean gives clues. The problem is that people often do not recognize the danger until they are already too close. The blue-ringed octopus is a reminder that danger in the ocean does not always come from size. It does not need giant teeth. It does not need speed. It does not need to look terrifying. Sometimes the most dangerous creature in the water is small enough to fit in your hand and beautiful enough to make you want to touch it. But if you ever see those electric blue rings flashing, remember what they mean. Back away, give it space and respect the warning. This is Hidden Science Stories HQ.